I'd say Duncan Robinson is one of the best examples of how far you can make it when you can knock down shots in an insanely high clip. And not only is he an extremely high percentage three-point shooter, but he's even better at finding those opportunities for a shot. So I'm going to put it all under the microscope for you. So first I'll address what everyone's been wondering about, his quick release. So everything on a quick release is centered around the timing of the jump. Why? Because you're not going to shoot without that jump. And the reason why we drop the ball most times is to align the ball going down with the loading of the jump, and the ball going up with when we're extending and jumping into the air. It's all about energy transfer. So here on this quick release, you'll notice that he's loading up slightly before he gets the ball. This one he'd normally be dropping that ball, right? Same thing here. So when that ball does hit his hands, he's already on the way up and can have everything flowing upward at once. But notice that when he's not extremely pressed for time, he does have a pretty exaggerated dip on that shot. So don't think he's doing this quick release every time. The key is being able to shoot with and without that dip. But one thing he does do to mitigate the time it takes to dip is by starting that motion mid-air. Notice how his feet are still off the ground as he's dropping that ball and flexing or bending in his hips and knees here. So when he hits the ground, he can just pop right up. Alright, so just a few ways he's really good at getting open. So the most simple but also the most common way any player gets open off ball is a basic lift or drift. So a lift is what you see him doing here as he raises up from the corner. And a drift is when he's moving towards the corner or baseline area to catch that pass. So there are two reasons why Duncan or any player would lift up or drift down offensively. One is to find an open pocket of space. As players drive to the bucket, obviously the defense is going to gravitate towards them a bit, even on a hell of a shooter like Robinson. If he stays in that same area that he's already in, he doesn't get much separation from the defender. But if he lifts, he's going to find much more space for that shot. And even here, Butler gets his offensive board, and he doesn't just sit there. He's active and creates as much separation as possible from his defender. And number two, and even more important, is to make that delivery easier and more visible for the passer.
Have advantages that most Americans don't.
If he stays up on the wing here, Crowder would need to make a very difficult pass to get it there, and may not even see it, so he drifts down to the corner, making that pass a lot more accessible for him. And this is similar on the wings or up top. This right here would be a tough pass for Dragic to make, but this is not. So what it really comes down to is constantly making micro adjustments offensively. Players who stand around don't get shots like this. It's about seeking the best angles, the most open pockets on the perimeter, and getting to them quickly and in a position to shoot from. And it's about understanding spacing too, which is one reason why the Heat have been so good. Hero makes that pass and comes through to the corner. So to open up that area, Robinson fills up to the wing, which not by coincidence, opens up as Iguodala drives in. And the next situation that you'll see him in a lot are just handoffs. The first thing I noticed about Duncan coming off handoffs is that he leaves no space in between his shoulder and his screener as he receives it. Coming off tight like this, just like on a screen, is almost essential to making a play off of that handoff. Now the defender has to trail behind, and that's a very good thing. Then you'll notice that he'll either rotate as he receives it and shoot, which is a great way to get it off quickly so you're not catching, rotating, and then shooting. Or he'll look to cover more space, really taking advantage of those 2 steps after receiving the ball and getting into that open space. Most times, because of how well he sets it up, defenders won't be able to keep up with this, and that contest is going to be late. But if they do, they're going to be very out of control, literally sprinting at him with all their effort trying to alter that shot. So what does that set up? Pump fakes, drives downhill,
Duncan Robinson, ball on his hip, gets
a variety of options. And lastly, since players close out moving behind the offensive player, they'll generally end up behind him. So he's great at sealing them behind and making something happen from there. So I'm definitely going to break down his whole game under the microscope, but I really just wanted to point out how good he is at the simple things on offense. Hopefully you guys will take something from this video, apply it into your own game, and go work on these foundational skills. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to follow me on Instagram at ByAnyMeansBasketball for a lot more.